this message is specifically for Mayor de Blasio in New York City. Sir, you don't know me. My name is Henner Gracie. My family is responsible for creating the art of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and we've been teaching nonviolent de-escalatory defensive tactics to law enforcement for the last 28 years. On July 1st, an NYPD officer got caught in a technique called the guillotine choke, also known as a front headlock during an altercation. Now, to the trained eye, it's clear that the civilian had some form of training, and fortunately, he released the neck restraint before the officer lost consciousness. Now, here's the concern. In this very situation, the suspect had the officer in the vascular neck restraint for 4 seconds. If applied 2 seconds longer, the officer could have been rendered unconscious. Now, based on NYPD's use of force continuum, this situation would have warranted lethal force. But there is a non-lethal way to deal with this very situation. Simply triangulate the base, outside leg trip, establish side control, transition into mount, and neutralize the suspect until help arrives. The problem is that this safe and very effective technique momentarily puts the officer in contact with the suspect's diaphragm. And based on the proposed bill and the revised training video that has already been circulated throughout the entire police department, that would be considered a misdemeanor crime by the officer, even if, quote, contact was accidental and no injury was sustained by the subject. I hope you see the problem with this. By criminalizing the lowest level of nonviolent body control tactics, we are inadvertently encouraging higher levels of violent force across the board. Now, reform is necessary, and there are several great components to this bill. Even the restriction on officers using neck restraints, totally understandable. But the moment you take away basic nonviolent control positions like mount, side mount, back mount, positions that have been used safely for thousands of years, since the beginning of martial arts recorded history, the moment you take those away, you strip officers of the ability to protect the public while they enforce the law. I've lost count of how many police officers have reached out to me to notify me personally that they'll be retiring early from the department because of this bill, and it makes total sense. Being a police officer is already risky enough. Now, being asked to shoulder the burden to protect and serve without the ability to use nonviolent control tactics, it simply isn't worth the risk. Mayor de Blasio, if I can meet with you and or your team to discuss the safety and tactical implications of this specific section of the bill, the one that pertains to criminalizing any pressure on the suspect's diaphragm, be it accidental, injurious, or not, I'd be willing to fly to New York on my own dime to make it happen. To anyone watching who has a connection to the mayor or Commissioner Shea, please help me make the connection, because once this bill gets signed, it'll be too late.